Yeah. Good morning, respected chief guest, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends of JCI. I am pleased to welcome you to the webinar on the future of informal sector in India by Professor Dr. M. Soundararajan. It aims at providing key input to the economical status of present and future. I believe that by participation or participating in this webinar, we are in the right place and right time. Dear friends, this is JC Dr. Minipriya Rajendran, President of JCA Kulturai. It is my pleasure to welcome everyone to the webinar organized by JCA Kulturai. I would like to extend a hearty welcome of our team and governing board members of JCA Kulturai. And I express my heartfelt welcome to our today's chief guest, Dr. M. Soundararajan, Professor and Dean, School of Management Studies, Gandhigram Rural Institute, Gandhigram. Thanks to everyone for being here and this wonderful morning to analyze the informal economy in our country. And I hope the future and present status will be changed and enjoy the day with us. Welcome you all.
Thank you.
Yeah. And next, introduction of chief guest. He is a professor of economics and rural industries management in Gandhigram Rural Institute, deemed to be University Gandhigram. He has completed 30 years of teaching, PG level, and 20 years of research experience. Apart from teaching, he is actively involved in research and completed 20 minor and major research projects with the assistance of University Grand Commission, Indian Council of Social Science Research, Ministry of Rural Development, All India Council for Technical Education, Bharat Gyan Vidyan Samiti, New Delhi, and State Resource Center for Non-Formal Education, Chennai. He has guided successfully 31 PhD candidates and 68 MPhil candidates. He served as a mentor for one PDF candidate. He has published 33 books with the ISBN and 148 articles in various international and national journals and in edited books. More than 200 papers were presented in various seminars, conferences, and visited Malaysia, South Africa, Thailand, UAE, Indonesia, Bangladesh, and UK, Netherlands, etc. for presenting papers in the international conferences. In addition to teaching and research experience, he served in many administrative positions such as Director, Directorate of Distance and Continuing Education, MS University, Head of the Department, and Director of Center for Entrepreneurship Development, Controller of Examinations, and GOGC COP Course Coordinator, NSSC Program Officer, Project Director, etc. As an extension activity, he conducted entrepreneurship development training programs at tsunami affected areas with the international funding assistance of International Labour Organization, American India Foundation, United Nations Development Programs, etc. He served as a national level monitor for special monitoring program of Ministry of Rural Development, New Delhi. For his credit, he has organized 21 seminars, workshops, refresher courses for college teachers. He received the Young Economist Award, Bharat Jyoti Award, Senior Economist Award, Eminent Educationalist Award for his academic achievements. He is life member of Indian Economic Association, Indian Society of Labour Economics, All India Management Association, Indian Audit Education Association, Indian Society of Agricultural Economics, Indian Academy of Social Sciences, Indian Institute of Public Administration, Association Economist of Tamil Nadu, National Corporate Union of India, etc. He is none other than Professor Dr. M. Soundra Pandya. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Now the session is, yes, thank you. Now the session is hand over to our chief guest, Dr. Professor Soundra Pandya. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam, for your brief welcome and introduction about me. First of all, I extend my heartfelt welcome to each one of you, and good morning to everyone. And I extend my thanks to the JCI Kulithurai, Kanyakumari district, for giving this opportunity for sharing my views in the field of informal sector. Especially, I thank the President, Dr. Minipriya Rajendran and Dr. A. Chandraprabha for their the help in this organizing the program. Today's the title is the future of the informal economy in India. The today's theme for discussion is the future of informal sector in India. I selected the theme for the discussion today because in India, not only in India, nearly 90% of the workers are in the informal economy, and they are mostly affected during the corona disease period. So that I have selected the theme for discussion in this present webinar. First, the term informal sector was used as an economic development model by W. Arthur Lewis to describe the employment or livelihood generation. It is a type of employment falling outside the modern industrial sector. The issue of defining the concept of informal economy has remained debatable over the years. Recently, the term informal economy is used instead of informal sector. The broader concept includes enterprises as well as employment in developing transition and advanced industrial economies. What is informal sector? A definition given by the NCEVS, the National Commission on Enterprises in Unorganized Sector, defines that informal sector consists of all unincorporated private enterprises owned by individuals or households engaged in the sale of production of goods and services operated on a proprietary or partnership basis and with less than 10 workers. It is the enterprises with less than 10 workers, and it is not formally or legally covered, is called the informal sector. The informal sector consists of the informal workers, for example, the agricultural workers, the construction workers, and the informal enterprises. There are some enterprises that it is not legally registered enterprises. For example, street vendors. So the informal sector consists of the informal workers as well as the informal enterprises. I think now you are clear about the concept of the informal sector. The informal sector is largely characterized by several qualities, that is, low skilled or unskilled workforce. The main thing is the person is having unskilled, they can get employment in the field of the informal sector. And another character, easy entry. We can get the job, that is the work in any time, any place, because it is easy in the informal sector. The work under low working conditions and no job security. So the workers in the field of informal economy are not having any job security. The unregistered activity, the another character, the enterprises that are all not registered, the unregistered activity, employing 10 or fewer undeclared workers, unpaid family workers, mainly women, without social protection or health safety measures at workplaces. Lack of employer-employee relationship is another important character in the workers in informal sector. So these are some of the character or the qualities of the informal sector. In rural areas, the informal workers are mainly involved in agricultural activities. They are agricultural workers, agricultural laborers. In urban areas, informal workers are involved in 12 other sectors. They are manufacturing, trade, hotel and restaurant, construction, transport, storage and communication, finance, business and real estate, small shop sales person, housekeeping and domestic helpers, street vendors, garbage collectors, and micro enterprises. So these 12 informal workers in these 12 sectors, they are mostly informal workers, covers the self-employed, casual workers on daily wages, and salaried or contract employees without any social safety net. So these are the background of the informal sector. So based on this background, we are going to discuss about the informal economy, informal sector, the status of the informal sector at global level and the India level. At the global level, according to ILO, International Labour Organization estimate, 62% of workers are informally employed. That is, 2 billion workers, 200 crores at worldwide. Globally, men have higher rates of informal employment than women. But in many emerging and developing countries, informal employment for women are higher than men. Globally, 56% of all workers are wage employed and 44% are self-employed. This is the global level status of the informal workers in the informal sectors. According to the PLFS, Periodic Labor Force Survey 2017-18, about 90% or 419 million of the total 465 million workers are engaged in informal sector, with 95% and 80% rural and urban areas respectively. In magnitude, the informal workers in rural areas, the 298 million, comprise of almost 2.5 times higher than urban areas. That is 121 million. This is primarily because of large number of informal workers are engaged in farm or agricultural activities in rural areas compared to only 8% in urban areas. Regarding the category-wise classification, according to the report, PLFS revealed that 298 million, that is 49% workers are involved in agricultural activities. Category-wise classification, nearly 12%, that is 60 million of workers in manufacturing activities, 11%, that is 55 million of workers in non-manufacturing activities. The remaining 27%, that is 127 million of workers are involved in service sectors. The PLFS, the Periodic Labor Force Survey, shows another analysis that occupational analysis about 40 million urban informal workers in India are engaged in 10 highly vulnerable occupations, which includes small shop salesperson and demonstrators, 13 million laborers in construction, manufacturing, transport combined 12 million workers, domestic helpers 3 million workers, housekeeping and restaurant service workers 3 million, painters and building structure cleaners 3 million, stall and market salesperson 2 million, street vendors 2 million, and garbage collectors 1 million. 1 million is equal to 10 lakhs. You can calculate the status of the informal workers in the informal sector in India. Now, the clear picture about the status of informal sector in India, the present status of the informal sector. Now, the next implications, that is the due to the COVID-19 in informal sector. As of the COVID-19 pandemic began in Wuhan, China, it is one of the ASEAN country, has spread and widely through the world. As of 17th July 2020, the confirmed cases are 1 crore 38 lakhs 10,534. 77 lakh 18,606 cases are recovered, and the death is 5 lakhs 90,000 persons at global level. In India, the confirmed cases are 10 lakhs 3,832. 6 lakhs 35,757 cases are recovered, and death is 25,602 persons as per the report as of 17th July 2020. As a result of the coronavirus, the global economy would suffer between $5.8 trillion and $8.8 trillion in losses, equivalent to 6.4% to 9.7% at global domestic product, GDP. At global GDP, the loss in the global economy, according to the report of the ASEAN Development Bank. The latest projection of IMF, International Monetary Fund, shows that as a result of the pandemic, global economy is contracting sharply by 3% in 2020. Looking at advanced economic growth as a whole is projected to be minus 61% in 2020. Most advanced economics forecast to contract this year, including the United States, minus 5.9%. Japan, minus 5.2%. The United Kingdom, minus 6.5%. And Germany, minus 7%. So the projection of the latest projection of the International Monetary Fund in the economic effect on the global economy and the Asia Pacific, and regarding the Asia Pacific countries, the report of the ASEAN Development Bank, the losses, the economic losses in Asia and Pacific could range from $1.7 trillion under a short containment scenario of 3 months to $2.5 trillion under long containment of 6 months, with the ASEAN region accounting for about 30% of the overall decline in global output. The People's Republic of China could suffer losses between $1.1 trillion and $1.6 trillion. So in global level as well as in the ASEAN and Pacific countries, the evil effect, that is economic effect due to the coronavirus. And regarding the India, the International Labour Organization report, the corona effect on the informal sector, according to the ILO report, said that almost 90% of working population in India in the informal economy, and about 40 crore workers in the informal economy are at risk of falling deeper into poverty during the crisis. So the lockdown and other containment measures are affecting jobs and earnings. The sectors most at risk include accommodation and food services, manufacturing, retail business, construction, and administrative activities. So the implications in response to the exponential rise in COVID-19 infections, India across the state is implementing the lockdown from March 24 to 2020. And the travel restrictions, social distancing policies, workplace and school closures, these measures have sudden and drastic impact on the workers and the enterprises. The major challenges during the post-COVID period, let us discuss due to the various challenges due to COVID-19 in the informal economy. They are, number one, unemployment and underemployment. The informal work is generally characterized by a deficit of decent work. This includes employment insecurity, that is, lack of protection against the arbitrary dismissal. Because the workers in the informal sector are not having any security, that is, job security. And the work security due to the lack of protection against workplace related accidents and illness. And social insecurity, that is lack of pension, sick leave, and maternity and health benefits. So these three important insecurity, employment, work, and the social insecurity is mainly covered for the informal sector workers. The closure of another area, that is the closure of MSME, micro, small, medium enterprises, due to financial collapse during COVID-19, created large number of unemployment and underemployment problem. So the first important implication, that is unemployment and underemployment. Second implication, that is the challenge due to the COVID-19 for the informal economy, that is loss of income and poverty. The employment drop implies that numerous workers around the world are facing or will face a loss of income, in many cases leading them and their families to deeper poverty. IMF, International Monetary Fund, projects that advanced economics will contract by around 6% in 2020, while emerging markets and developing economics will contract by 1%, yet with more people living close to the international poverty line. The developing world, low and middle income countries will suffer the greatest consequence in terms of extreme poverty. So this is another important challenge for the informal sector due to COVID, that is the extreme poverty. Third issue, the health issue. The fragmented healthcare system is not accessible to all, especially those in informal employment. So they are not having the adequate savings for their health benefits. If the informal sector workers fall sick, they do not have guaranteed access to medical care and no income security through sickness or employment injury benefits. The corona affected persons cannot get the treatment at private hospitals because I came to know yesterday only they are charging rupees 2 lakhs at entry point. And at the same time, the government could not accommodate all patients, the corona affected persons, during the higher rate of higher growth rate of cases through COVID-19. So this is another issue, health issue. Fourth one is income inequality. So the increasing shift towards temporary contract labor has led an increase in inequality as a decline in social safety nets, both of which ultimately limit India's ability to achieve inclusive growth. The Oxfam India report reveals that a significant gap between the wage of permanent and temporary workers. The temporary workers earned only 36% of the compensation offered to the permanent staff. The rising proportion of contract workers also has more significant impact on increasing inequality as compared to making manufacturing more capital intensive and hiring less labor. When there is an income decline to permanent employees, it will automatically affect the temporary workers. Now the government has reduced the DA and some other things to the government employees, and it will also automatically affect the salary position of the temporary workers. So it will create the income inequality. Another issue, social inequality. Nearly 79% of the workers belonging to Dalits, Adivasi, OBC and Muslim communities are working in the informal employment. This social aspect of inequality is also reflected in the fact that people belonging to these social vulnerable groups are 25 to 30% more likely to be poorer and vulnerable than other social classes. So it will also create the social inequality. Another challenge due to COVID-19, that is the disrupting the food supply and insecurity. The social distancing measures are being enacted around the world, which are disrupting highly integrated trade links and value chains. Further, the logistical challenges which in supply chains, particularly cross-border and domestic restriction of movement, may lead to disrupting in food supply and undermining informal workers' food security. Informal food markets play an essential role in ensuring food security in many countries, such as a source of food and place for smallholder farmers to sell these products, and their closure will lead to increased food insecurity and poverty. Another important challenge in the case of the micro, small and medium enterprises and migrant workers. With estimated 1.3 billion informal workers in the micro, small and medium enterprises and in the informal enterprises are the most affected workers. Already 100 million migrant workers in India are on the move in search of safety and basic subsistence, defying a nationwide lockdown. The life of informal micro business owners, own account workers, or informal employees are affected due to the absence of income replacement and a weak social protection system. Another challenge, occupational risk. Physical distancing is difficult to apply by those working as street and market vendors, domestic workers, home delivery workers, etc. The COVID-19 virus has the vulnerability of poor workers, especially in rural areas, due to poor preventive measures such as physical distancing. The migrant workers do not have guaranteed access to medical care and no income security among sickness or employment ongoing benefits. So these are the various challenges and the problems, issues, implications of the COVID-19 in the informal sector. Next, the strategies for the future of the informal sector in India. There are some measures, suggested measures for promoting the future of the informal sector economy. They are, number one, social protection measures. At present, the temporary social protection measures are to be extended to the informal workers. Now, for the stopgap arrangements, the government is providing some of the support. They are food support and some cash transfer support. These supports should be transformed into sustainable social protection mechanism. The extension of the social assistance and insurance schemes are to be given to the informal workers. Second strategy, that is registration and identification. So this is one of the major problem in the informal economy. The informal workers in future have to register themselves in the concerned boards for getting the benefits. Government has taken measures to collect the information about the informal workers and informal units. In India, by using the digital technologies, biometric Aadhaar system helps to get the benefits of the social protection programs. Recently, the government has announced the cash benefits to the workers, the registered workers in the board. For example, construction workers, they have a board, construction workers board, but 50% of the construction workers have registered in the board. So they are able to get the cash benefits due to the corona rehabilitation. Only 50% of the construction workers are getting the benefits. So they are not, because they are not registered so far. So registration and identification is very important thing in future. Each and every worker in the informal enterprises have to register for getting future benefits. This is one of the suggestion. The third one is UPIS, that is the Universal Basic Income Schemes. In India, the MGNREG scheme, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, that is a scheme, must be provided to the migrant workers in order to retain them. Now the workers already migrated workers returned back to the home in villages. There is no scope for employment in the village level. So the MRNG scheme must be provided to the migrant workers in order to retain them in the villages and to avoid the migration to other states and other countries. The sustainable funding needs to be allocated towards the broad employment and income support within economic structure packages. In other countries, it is called UPIS scheme. Now in India, it is the MGNREGA is one of the important scheme. And another strategy, that is support to unemployed. The unemployed could be supported by the expansion of unemployment benefits, providing wage subsidies, offering company incentives, and employment services to complement income support to unemployed workers. Another strategy or the measure for the future of the informal economy. And another suggestion, that is safety health policies. Preventive measures are to be provided to protect workers' health and safety. There is a need to develop policies and programs to promote safety, because the informal workers are not having any protective policy for their health and safety. So the need in this structure, it is a need. The national policies are to be strengthened for the safety of the employees' health policies. The another measure, strategy, that is a public distribution system. Food support necessary to prevent hunger, and government has to provide the food support for vulnerable households and to safeguard the nutrition in rural areas. Under PDS, public distribution system, the government of India is providing free rice and other essentials to the unemployed poor informal workers. The next important suggestion, that is policy towards transition for formality. So the informal sector must be changed or transformed into the formal sector. This is a policy level decision. A large size of informal economy is a major obstacle to poverty reduction and the achievement of decent work for all and sustainable development. So it is a need to make the transition from the informal to the formal sector a priority area in the national policies. So these are some of the important strategies for the future of the informal sector. Now, before going to the conclusion, I would like to highlight some of the government initiatives for the informal sector. At present, the government of India under 20 lakhs crores for 2020. That is the Atmanirbhar Bharat
Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Abhiyan. That is
Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Atmanirbhar Bharat package for the welfare of the informal economy. First one is SDRF, that is the State Disaster Response Fund. The state government were permitted to utilize SDRF for providing food and shelter for migrant workers. Rupees 11,000 crore are released to the government to augment the SDRF. Another initiative, SUH and SHG, that is the Shelter for Urban Homeless, SUH, and self-help groups, SHG. 3 meals a day are provided to residents of the shelters for urban homeless. The urban poor are involved in producing masks and sanitizers through self-help groups. Nearly 7,200 new self-help groups of the urban poor are formed since March 2020. And another initiative by the Government of India regarding the MGNREGS. Under MGNREGS, nearly 15 crore persons mandates of work are generated and works were offered to 2.33 crore wage seekers in 1.87 lakh Gram Panchayats. So after the corona, these are the initiatives made by the Government of India and through the MGNREGS scheme. The average wages are also increased from rupees 182 to rupees 202. As on June 2020, the actual expenditure for MGNREGS was 10,000 crores. Necessary arrangements are made to enroll the returning migrants, those who are returned from the various places to their own places. The necessary arrangements are made to enroll the returning migrants. States and union territories are advised by the central government to provide works to the migrant workers as per the provisions of the MGNREG Act. So this is one of the important initiatives made by the Government of India for the welfare of the informal sector. The fourth one is benefits to the unorganized workers. In order to reduce the regional disparity, a statutory concept of national floor wage is introduced, and the fixation of minimum wages is simplified. The appointment letter for all workers to promote formalization and annual health checkup for employees. The occupational safety and health code and ESIC, the Employees State Insurance Corporation, is also applicable to even establishments engaged in work of hazardous nature with less than 10 workers. So previously they are not having the provision. Now the government have initiated the safety health code and also ESC benefits. Another measure, benefits to migrant workers. Interstate portability is introduced in 20 states, which will enable migrant beneficiaries to access a public distribution system. That is one nation, one card. There is a system introduced. That is any person can get any place the ration items. Under this National Portability Scheme, 67 crore beneficiaries in 23 states, covering 83% of the PDS population, are to be covered. A scheme under Prime Minister Awas Yojana (PMAY) will be launched for migrant workers or the urban poor to provide ease of living at affordable rent. The another measure, that is the street vendors, to the street vendors, a special scheme, that is initial working capital up to 10,000 to facilitate easy access to credit to street vendors. Nearly 50 lakh street vendors are benefited at present under this scheme. So these are some of the government initiatives for the welfare of the informal sector workers. Finally, the conclusion, while concluding, it is suggested that a three big system in order to reach this large number of agriculture and informal workers. So the government of India or state government or at global level, there are many policies and programs to promote the welfare of the informal sectors. But these policies and benefits are not reached to the concerned stakeholders, that is the informal sector workers. So in my concluding speech, I would suggest the three big systems. They are banking system, the payment system, and the public distribution system. The banks have the capability to reach out to more than 50 crore individuals who have already deposited or a loan account. Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana and the Kisan Credit Schemes, etc. These are all electronically could be reached the direct benefits. So the banking system is helpful to reach the benefits directly. So the payment system, the direct benefit transfer, the present government is mostly initiated many measures digitally, and also the benefits also transferred directly. That is, the government has been using the direct benefit transfers electronically, other enabled cards, etc. So this system could be strengthened to reach the informal workers, the benefits to be reached. And another public distribution system. So we have the National Food Security Act. This may be strengthened, and the public distribution system, without the leakage, all the benefits should be reached to the poor, especially the informal sectors. So in this occasion, I would like to suggest these three big systems may be strengthened for the promotion of the welfare of the informal sectors and the informal workers. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, any questions? I hand over the session to the President. If any questions, we can.
Sir, Sundar Pandian, sir.
Yes,
Hello?
yes.
I am Dr. B. Gopal Singh. We used to meet in Indian Economic Association and ISLE meetings.
Yes,
Now-
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, your presentation is very good.
Yes.
You have covered most of the aspects in detail. You have given very good suggestions. One important comment I would like to make is
Yes.
with regard to the universal income scheme. As you have mentioned, it is very difficult for the unorganized sector to get them registered and identified. That's why the government thought of universal basic income. Say, for example, if 4,000 rupees every month has to be given for women above 20 years, 4,000 rupees per month, if it is given, it is beneficial to all the people. So there is a question that even rich may also get the benefit. But as in the case of subsidy, people have left the subsidy. Everybody has not accepted the subsidy. Many of them voluntarily they have left it. In the same way, in universal basic income is given, there are possibilities that people willingly they may leave this benefit, and it will be beneficial to the unorganized sector and also to the migrant workers. Thank you, sir. Very good presentation.
Thank you for your suggestion. Already we highlighted the things. Any other questions from where any other participants? Sir, thank you, sir. Gopal Singh, sir.
Yeah, I want the students to participate. We want to listen to their views also.
Yes,
Others,
yes.
please.
Yes, others can speak.
Please speak. Others, please speak.
Yes. Any other questions or any suggestions? Chat lo varudha eda question. Madam, Minipriya madam.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And if there is no question, you can proceed.
Okay. Yeah.
The next.
Thank you, sir. It's an excellent analytical presentation. Thank you so much for the brief and informative session. Now, I request to participants to fill the feedback form. And sir, please put the feedback form to inbox
Please send the feedback form through.
Yes, yes, it will be sent by the chat box.
immediately. Yeah. So now I recognize all professors from different colleges, universities like Gandhigram University and St. Xavier's College and Mysore and MS University and St. Joseph Patients.
Thank you,
And
madam.
now I request, may I call upon JC Professor Dr. Chandra Prabha to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. I am honored and lucky to give the opportunity to give a vote of thanks on this special day. First of all, I would like to thank the chief guest, Dr. M. Pandian, Professor MD, School of Management Studies, Gandhigram Rural Institute, Gandhigram, for taking his precious time out and concerning to be the chief guest. We express our sincere gratitude to our guest speaker, Dr. M. Chandrabandian, has given a wonderful topic, the Corona lockdown period. Definitely, your speech is very useful to all, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir, indeed, your work have inspired the participants, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I express my sincere gratitude our President JC Dr. Minipriya Rajendran Madam. You gave me an opportunity to speak on this auspicious occasion. Thank you, ma'am. I express my sincere thanks to all participants, professors, friends, and JCI members. Thank you to all. Once again, I thank to feedback given by the participant, Dr. Gopal Singh, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, one and all.